Okay, now I'm going to show you the brushwork on a much smaller image here. You can see the size of my hand. This is a tiny little sketch that I did. But I'm wanting to try it out, and I'm going to use two brushes on this rather than the big brush because this is too small of an area. But I like using this half-inch long-bodied brush here. It's a synthetic, and I'm going to start the color of the bird's head. This is called a Rufous Bellied Hornbill. And now the trick here, I'm using 2 inches of gravity. You have to have gravity working with you. And I start it coming down. I'm going to paint around the mask. But I have to have that little bit of color there. Now watch this. I'm going to kiss the bottom edge of it, which thins it out. And now I'm going to strengthen it coming into the chest. And then I want to get rid of the bead. See the bead there? I don't want that bead because it'll cause a problem. And what I'm going to do is, but I'm going to, it's still damp. I'm coming in with the burnt sienna. And I'm going to use a little bit now coming into the bird's wing. And you can see that it's getting a soft blend already. I'm going to come down here and bring this wing all the way down. I'm going to leave a little bit of that there. And I'm going to darken the bottom edge of the wing. I'm going to leave a couple pieces of white here. And while this is damp, come back up here. This technique here is paint into wet. But down underneath is more of this rufous. And while this is drying here, I'm going to move up onto its beak, which is a more clear yellow. And it's actually kind of a sienna yellow. And so bring it across the top wet, and then I'm going to come underneath it so it's kind of an ivory color. And now what I often do when I'm working here is you see these are still not dry. So I'll touch them a little bit and take the liquid out of them. And I'm going to then finish the tail. So now there's the basic wash of the whole bird. And here is the limb. So now, in order to do the limb, I'm going to do that in two different ways here. I want to make the limb look round. Let me see if I can get a little bit closer even. You can see the limb here. Now you can do this with traditional wet and wet technique. However, what I'm trying to show you is a different technique. And for this technique, this is kissed edge blend. And when you're working on a sketchbook like this has to be done very quickly. You have to have the gravity working. This is the reflected light underneath. And then the fun part of it is adding these little details like this. And here, and because of the hornbill, and now they got all this, I'm going to dry out my brush. And I'm going to lift some of the liquid here. And now it's too much liquid. All I gotta do is lift it a little bit, and then it's got these couple markings. Then I'll lift the liquid. And now the beak is dry enough that I can come in here and add these markings. I'm going to go down here to the legs and the feet. And so all of the basic color work is done with a lot of blended brushwork. Especially up here in the feathers of the shoulder. And you can see how the head is quite a bit lighter than in the reference. And now that the color is drying, I'm going to go back and I'm going to darken this and get it to be the head to be oranger. more burnt sienna. So I'm mixing up three colors to get the right shade of rufous. And here I go. Now you see what I did here. I put it on like this. It doesn't look right, does it? It doesn't, because it's not. What I have to do is blend it now with water and kissed edge blending. And now I'm going to come down here. Actually, I'm going to start it above. I want to darken the tail. So technique-wise, I want to be careful how I do it because I don't want to disturb the quality of that blend. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start it up here. Filling in these whites now. And now, as I come down, I'm going to kiss that wet brushwork. And now I'm getting some lovely blends. And I'm going to wait till it dries now to finish the face. But I'm real happy with this blending here and down into the chest and up onto the wing. That's lovely. That's just what I was hoping for. So here we are. I spent another 10 or 15 minutes carefully detailing these areas of the bird. I detailed the face and the bill, add a little bit of touches of dark to emphasize the structure. But overall, the feature of this that I like the most is this blend. That was a secondary blend. I did the first blend, and then when it was all dry, I came back over with the darker burnt sienna and then feathered it out with water right in here. I kissed the bottom edge with water and got this beautiful blend. This is what I mean by kissed edge blending gives you the ability to develop smaller areas and more precise areas. Now I could go back in and put a lot of detail in the shoulder and everything, but this is a small little painting. And I don't want all that detail, and I want to have some visual impact. But there we go with this first demo of the Rufous Hornbill and the brushwork to get there. There we are.